Hello, I'm Scott. Welcome back to my channel, CineRam, and this is Motion Conflict Underoos, my Marvel Cinematic Universe little abbreviated series. I am, anticipating, of course, the next Avengers movie, Endgame, which comes out very soon, and I will be seeing exactly 2 weeks from today, Saturday the 27th. That's when I'm getting together with a couple friends, and we're going to go see this long-awaited finish, in a sense, to the Marvel Cinematic Universe storyline so far, involving Infinity Stones and things like that, and possibly a few, significant character deaths on the hero side. We saw a bunch of that last year, but I have never really been under the impression that would stick. Of course, it would be resolved in some way, undone. The question is how much of it really is going to be undone. You've got the non-snap deaths of Gamora and Loki and Vision. I think that's about it. But then you've got all the people that vanished. And the working theory is that they're in Soul World, and they'll be brought back. The Avengers are all going to get together, the few of them that are left in Endgame, to try and undo what happened. And they actually had a clip on Jimmy Kimmel the other night about them plotting to basically steal back the Infinity Gauntlet with the stones and undo it, and that was sort of like their overall objective. The question, of course, is how. How is all that going to happen? We just don't know. All we know is they're going to be wearing, uniforms that are white and red, as we've seen in other clips. Very much anticipating this movie, of course. And like I said, this is sort of an abbreviated series, not a movie-by-movie review series. But I want to talk a little bit about Captain Marvel, the film which just came out at the beginning of March, and which I have already seen twice. But before I get into that, I have been rewatching all the movies, although not, some of them I haven't really been listening to. I've been listening to the commentary track instead, because I've seen them already a bunch of times, and I don't really need to rewatch them again. Avengers 1 just was re-released last year, so I got the opportunity to see it in IMAX 3D, which I hadn't done when it first came out in 2012. So I've seen it pretty recently, Plus, I'm always popping in the movies like, Civil War and Age of Ultron and Winter Soldier, just to rewatch scenes that I really like. So, although I've been rewatching all the movies, barring Incredible Hulk, I have not really been listening to all of them. But I've been hearing some interesting things. For example, Iron Man 3, Shane Black and the other writer on that project, they were talking about all the different ideas that they had and all the different versions of the story that they tried before they eventually settled on what the movie eventually turned out to be. A lot of people are not crazy about Iron Man 3 because of the character of the Mandarin and what they did with the character that was different from the comic books. Since I'm not like a hardcore comics fan, it didn't make a difference to me. I was just delighted by the surprises. And of course the really funny dialogue. Shane Black is great with dialogue. So, I've seen the first two Guardians movies again. I've seen Iron Man 1 through 3 again, watched both Cap 1 and 2 again, and Thor 1 and 2 again, and of course Avengers 1. And so what I have left is basically the next movie I'm going to rewatch is Age of Ultron, and I'm going to listen to the Joss Whedon commentary track on that. I'm debating whether or not to rewatch Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and Spider-Man Homecoming, because they don't seem quite as relevant to Endgame. I probably will, but I'm just not altogether certain that I will. Two movies I'm definitely going to be watching again are the two Ant-Man movies, because I've only seen the second Ant-Man movie once in the theater. I wasn't crazy about it when I saw it. Maybe I'll like it more this time, I don't know. But I figure it's probably going to be important, because especially if they're going to be dealing with a quantum realm. What I remember about that movie is that it was just an avalanche of sci-fi gobbledygook in every single scene, and it just got tiring after a while. All the actors are really likable. That's the case with most of these movies, but I really wasn't crazy about it. So I'm going to give it another watch, of course, before Endgame comes out. Of course, Thor Ragnarok, I'll be watching that again, and I'll be watching the Infinity War with the commentary track from the Russo brothers, but I might also watch it again, just normally, because I haven't seen that movie all the way through since it was in the theater. I saw it twice in the theater, but I really, mostly when I rewatch it, I rewatch the battle scenes, because they're the most fun. And the scene where Thor first meets the Guardians, that's a really funny scene as well. So that's my plan basically over the next couple of weeks, to get all that taken care of, and I've got plenty of time to do it. I've had free showtime this week, so I've taken a break from the Marvel movies to get caught up on Shameless, and other stuff. I've just been ignoring pretty much everything else in favor of showtime and Marvel movies. Oh, and of course I've been working and sleeping as well, so that's it. And my birthday was last week, so I was partying a bit. So anyway, so Captain Marvel. Some people say that it's kind of average, and I'm thinking this is a pretty good kind of average, if this is actually an average movie. A lot of people complain about Brie Larson's performance. I think she's really good, and I sense that she wasn't like fully committed in a couple of moments. There are a couple really big emotional moments that really didn't land for me. Like the scene where she's talking with the leader of the Skrulls and also her best friend from years ago at her best friend's place. There's just sort of a big emotional moment that's the music tries to goose a little bit, and I just wasn't feeling it. And there's also an exchange late in the movie after she defeats Jude Law in combat and packs him up in the rocket. Their last exchange, she just didn't seem quite as there as in a lot of the other stuff. But overall, I don't have any complaints about the movie, other than the fact that some of the 90s signifiers seems a little forced. Some of the music is just like, whatever's playing on the radio, but a lot of the times it's just soundtrack music, 90s tunes for a 90s-cent movie. So I wasn't like really, I'm a big fan of 90s music. I was in my 20s during that time, so I loved a lot of that stuff. But yeah, some of it seems a little bit intrusive. Whatever, it's not a big deal. It's really not. Samuel Jackson, is lots of fun as young Nick Fury, and a lot of the action's good, as it usually is. And I liked Ben Mendelsohn as the leader of the Skrulls, and some interesting developments as far as what we learn about Carol. Now I've also been reading the comic book series, the new comic book series on Captain Marvel, and there was a limited series that was maybe 4 or 5 issues long called The Life of Captain Marvel. She basically just takes a break from heroing and goes home and hangs out with her mom and her younger brother for a little while. And at that point we learned that she's basically Aquaman. That her father is human, but her mother is a Kree and came to Earth and fell in love with her father, and they made out by a lighthouse, just like in the Aquaman movie. And she's half Kree, basically. She's half human, half Kree. And they didn't get into that in the film. And I don't know if they're going to, but I think that it would make sense for her to be only half human, for her to have absorbed the energy that gave her her powers in the first place. We learned that the energy source that was being used to power this experimental craft that she was piloting was powered from energy from the Tesseract, from the Space Stone. Oh, really? The Space Stone, huh? Well, geez, this reminds me of the twins from Age of Ultron. They got their powers from the Mind Stone. And it makes me think not only that she's part Kree, but that this is going to be relevant in some way to Avengers Endgame, when she comes up and says, oh, I got these powers, I can fly, I can blast through things, everything like that. And maybe at some point in the mission she'll happen to mention that she got her power in an accident involving energy from the Tesseract. And the other Avengers will go, what, the Tesseract? You got your energy from the Tesseract? Well, wait a second now. Wanda tried to destroy the Mind Stone because she got her powers from the Mind Stone, so she was really the only one capable of destroying it. It could be that you are the only person who's capable of controlling destroying the Space Stone, if that's something that we need to do once we, bring everybody back from the dead. So that's a possibility. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I had this theory about Ant-Man, which I talked about in the last video. I'm kind of dismissing that now. I'm thinking maybe that's not going to happen, but I'm thinking possibly, just possibly, if Carol happens to mention while they're on the mission, that she, got her powers, from the Space Stone, from the Tesseract, they'll be like, hey, wait a second now. Maybe, you can use that energy to, stop anybody else from using the Infinity Stones by destroying the Space Stone. Maybe, huh? I don't know. We'll see. So much about what happens in this movie is being kept in the dark, and I really like that a lot. I'm looking forward to discovering the twists in the story and the mission, the actual ins and outs of the mission itself. That's going to be really cool. So yeah, I was pleased with the movie overall, liked it, and I actually sat down in the theater to write down the placement of all the songs in the film so that I could answer any trivia questions about it for this event that I went to. One thing that, aside from like the 90s stuff, going back to that, I'm very sort of aware of when things happened during the 90s. So they say the movie takes place in 1995, but there are a couple things that contradict that. For example, the poster of Babe in the video store, that movie wouldn't be out on video until like maybe early 96. You know, December of 1995 at the very earliest, because it came out in the fall of 95. On the other hand, you've got the Stan Lee cameo. In this movie, Stan Lee basically plays himself rather than a character who just happens to be nearby, as he usually does. So he's basically reading the script from Mallrats and practicing his lines, which would indicate that Mallrats has not actually been shot yet. Well, that wouldn't have happened in 95 because Mallrats actually came out in 1995. That would have been earlier. It would have been in like late 94 or something like that. They would have shot it the previous year or maybe just in January of 95 and it would have come out then. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun seeing that little reference there, you know, very era-appropriate reference. But the timeline's kind of muddled there if you're familiar with the when those movies got released, Babe and Mallrats. And I'm not even getting into the music. I don't even remember when some of the songs were on the radio, or literally on the radio. Some of them might not have come out until 96, I don't even know, but it's not that important. It's really not that important. These are just little details that I noticed. And I go, that wouldn't have happened like that, not in that year. Another thing that sort of bothered me, I'm a really big fan of Annette Bening. Have been for a long time, and I'm pleased to see that she was in this movie, and she's playing like basically three characters in this movie, one of which is Carol's own version of the Supreme Intelligence. They describe it at the beginning of the movie as the artificial intelligence that serves as the leader of the Kree. The Kree don't have an actual Kree person leading them. They have this artificially intelligent system that's giving them their orders and coordinating the strategy of their race. Probably not just as far as battles and conflicts with other alien creatures, but also like their whole society might be run by it. I'm not really sure. I don't know a lot about it. But one thing that kind of thought was weird was late in the movie when Carol gets plugged into the Supreme Intelligence and speaks with it, it's acting very, very strangely. First of all, it's playing a Nirvana track. It's playing Nirvana on its little turntable. I'm like, wait a minute. Carol's had her memory wiped. She doesn't know anything about Nirvana. Why would the Supreme Intelligence be playing a Nirvana song that only became popular in the 90s if Carol's been absent since like 89? That doesn't make any sense. And also, why is the Supreme Intelligence going, hey, music, I love it, and oh, this jacket right here, it's so cool, I really like it. I'm like, why is the Supreme Intelligence acting like this now? I mean, it's fun probably for an actor to play a scene that way, but does it make sense for the Supreme Intelligence to do that? Not really. Again, these are like little nitpicks. You know, it's not really all that important. I don't care enough about the movie to really sort of let it bother me, but it's just something that I thought I'd mention. Like I said, overall, I enjoy the movie. It's a fun movie. Not one of my favorite Marvel movies, but I certainly don't think that it gets. It deserves a lot of the hate that it gets as far as like the character of Carol Danvers and her character arc. I read this little article about how some guys are complaining about her character arc. They don't get it, and you know, it just sort of points out that this isn't an example of someone like suddenly discovering powers or building their technology like Tony Stark does in his first movie. At the beginning of the movie, Carol already has her powers, but she's been told certain things about it. She's been told that her powers are given her by the Kree and they can be taken away, and she needs to keep this little device on her neck in order to get that. And what she discovers, of course, in the end, spoiler alert, is that that the Kree have actually been trying to control her by telling her this stuff. And all she has to do is take that little device off her neck, and her powers are no longer suppressed. They're no longer controlled by her. She can, like, really sort of blossom as far as superheroes goes and exude all this destructive energy and fight all these guys. And so it's basically a story about a woman who has been suppressed and attempted to be controlled, breaking free and going, hey, I don't need any of you people, I'm strong on my own. And she goes in this big battle at the end, and then she flies up right in front of Ronan the Accuser's ship and does the patented Carol Danvers move, which is to go like that. And I'm just like, yeah, all right. And Ronan's like, I'm out of here, I'm not going to deal with her anymore. Good thing too, because he's, has to get killed in Guardians of the Galaxy, which happens later on. So yeah, some things to not like about it, but plenty to like about it. I think that the best place for it is between the two Infinity War movies. I mean, you're not supposed to call that, but still, it's like Infinity War Part 2, really. Part 1 and 2. So yeah, that's my take on that. I am going to do a special video just on Infinity War, because I never really did a proper review of Infinity War for YouTube. I did, the last Marvel movie I actually sat down and really did a full review on was Civil War, which was a while ago. Didn't do one on any of the other ones, but I'll talk a little bit about the other ones. Kind of recap a little bit. And I don't know if it's necessary that I rewatch all the ones in between, Age of Ultron and up to the present, but I'm going to if I can. If I can get take the time to do it, then I will. So, thank you very much for watching. That's my little video. There'll be another one soon. And what it'll be on exactly, I haven't settled on yet, but there's 2 whole videos in this series so far, and the playlist for those videos is linked below in the description, as is my CineRam Facebook page if you'd like to visit that as well. I recommend going to that page because that's where I put up all my new videos for sure. Your subscription inbox won't necessarily show me. Even when I post a video only like an hour earlier. The subscription inbox works a little bit differently now. It's kind of shady. So yeah, visit my Facebook page. I don't need, lots of likes. I'm not, trying to get everyone to like my page and raise its profile. I don't make any money off of this. It's just a great place to find my videos. And of course, once you're here, then you can link to my channel and see everything there. Everything's up and open and ready for you to look at as usual. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again real soon. And if you're planning on seeing Marvel movies in the next couple of weeks, leading up to Endgame, please enjoy them. I hope you have lots of fun doing that. Also, one more thing. I only just looked at Ryan Chattaway's channel and saw the guideline video for his marathon this year, which he posted like 2 whole months ago. Sorry, I completely missed out on that. But there's going to be another marathon this year. Ryan's going to do it. Luke Ryan, of course, is going to do his video. I hope I get to be involved in Luke's video like I did last year in some way. Yeah, that is... oh, and Luke's also doing his own Marvel Cinematic Universe series. Not sure which movie he's on yet, but yeah, that's definitely something exciting to see. Yeah, so all that is linked below if you want to see any of that. I've got all the links down below in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you again real soon. Take it easy.